My name is Kira Barrett, and this is my presentation for our case study number 3 for SPCE 683 in section 807. Just to quickly review, my client Jay is 3 years old and has a diagnosis of autism. He has quite a few behaviors of concern, but the one that we will be focusing on and discussing that we will target for decrease in this case study will be his tantrums. He does have some emerging vocals, but still exhibits significant deficits in his functional communication skills. Jay does love fish, oceans, anything underwater, cars, and playing outside. The training model that we will be using is the Behavioral Skills Training Model, or BST, which is an evidence-based training method that is widely used in ABA and has 4 steps. Those 4 steps include instruction, modeling, rehearsal, and feedback. During the instruction phase, the trainer will be providing a clear explanation of the behavior or skill to be taught to the learner. In our case, we will be explaining the DRO procedures in clear and concise terms. We describe what behavior or behaviors we are hoping to increase and or decrease through these procedures, and explain when and how we will implement that DRO procedure. During the rehearsal phase, the learner is given the opportunity to practice that behavior or skill to gain more experience and become more confident in the steps required to run the procedures effectively. So specifically in our case study, the learner will be given opportunities to practice by role-playing the DRO steps with either a coworker or supervisor before being required to implement those steps with the client, which is Jay. Feedback is the next phase. In this phase, the trainer will provide constructive feedback on steps that were implemented correctly, as well as give feedback on areas in need of improvement. Specifically with our case study, we'll be providing positive feedback when the learner correctly implements the steps of the DRO procedure and point out any areas that can be refined or improved to increase treatment integrity. The next thing we'll discuss is validity and how we will measure that. We will measure social validity in our case through interviews with parents and caregivers to determine if our goals are socially significant to the family, and also discuss if the procedures are socially acceptable to all relevant parties. We will also measure construct validity in our case by using clear and accurate operational definitions of those behaviors to record and analyze the behavioral data. The next thing we'll be discussing is integrity. We'll measure treatment integrity through continuous supervision and feedback during our RBT consultations. We'll also assess treatment integrity during monthly instructional evaluations with our staff and with BIP fidelity checks. We could also possibly look at using self-assessment tools for the learner to frequently assess for possible areas of growth and improvement. These are some of the task list items that were addressed through this study. The first one is I4, developing tactics for training staff to competently perform assessment and intervention procedures. And we did this by using the behavior skills training model. The second one is I5, learning about performance monitoring, feedback, and reinforcement systems for staff by using continuous supervision and those feedback methods. I6 is developing a functional assessment approach, or those performance diagnostics, to identify variables affecting personnel performance. Again, that's by using those monthly evaluations. And then I7, we looked at determining what function-based strategies to improve personnel performance by using continuous supervision, monthly evaluations, self-assessment tools, and ongoing use of the behavior skills training model in case we ever needed to retrain and go back to those modeling and rehearsal steps if needed. This is my reference. And thank you very much. Let me know if you guys have any questions.